Good evening. Welcome, dear friend. Tonight, we embark on a tranquil journey through timeless wisdom. We will explore the profound teachings of Zen Buddhism, illuminated by the life of Ananda, the Buddha's steadfast companion, whose devotion offers a mirror to our own capacity for presence. Before we gently begin this inward exploration, if you feel moved, please share the country you are in and your local time. From which corner of our shared world do you quietly breathe with us? This sanctuary offers a quiet haven for inner cultivation, nurturing your mind and gently awakening your spirit. Within this peaceful realm, you are invited simply to exist, to breathe, and to let these soft narrations guide you inward. All the wisdom you seek already resides within you. We are merely here to rediscover what patiently awaits. Should these reflections resonate deeply within your being, we warmly invite you to return whenever serenity calls. Consider subscribing to keep this tranquil harbor accessible, a constant reminder of the peace within. Now, allow yourself a deep, calming breath and settle fully into this precious present moment as we turn our attention to the story of Ananda and his path of dedicated service. A humble request, the path of service. Tonight, we gently settle into the story of Ananda, a figure whose very name whispers devotion and presence. Ananda, cousin to the Buddha, was not merely a follower, but a witness, a vessel, and a profound example of service as a spiritual path. His journey began with a deep aspiration, a quiet yearning to dedicate his life to the Buddha's teachings, not for personal glory or elevation, but from a place of genuine reverence and a wish to facilitate the spread of Dharma. This sincere intention, born of humility and a clear understanding of the profound wisdom before him, set the stage for a life of unparalleled dedication, transforming every act of service into a practice of full presence and inner peace. In the tranquil groves where the Buddha often taught, under the dappled sunlight filtering through ancient leaves, Ananda spent his early days observing with a profound stillness. He watched the Buddha move with effortless grace, listened to his voice, a calming balm on the agitated minds of many, and absorbed the quiet wisdom radiating from his very being. The air itself seemed to hum with the Dharma, a subtle energy that Ananda felt deep within his bones. He saw the continuous flow of seekers, the myriad questions, the endless needs, and a deep sense of compassion stirred within him, a realization that the Buddha required a steadfast hand, a loyal heart, and a mind receptive to every nuance of his sacred mission, a calling that resonated with his own burgeoning sense of purpose and commitment. It was with a heart overflowing with respect, yet a mind clear and discerning, that Ananda approached the Buddha with his humble request to become his permanent attendant. He articulated a set of conditions, not out of self-interest, but to ensure the purity and authenticity of his service, avoiding any perception of personal gain or special privilege. He asked that the Buddha never give him any of his robes, never share his alms food, never assign him to special lodging, and never take him to private invitations. These requests, seemingly simple, revealed a profound understanding of non-attachment and a deep commitment to ethical conduct. Sila, ensuring his role would be one of selfless devotion, free from any hint of craving or trishna for worldly comforts or status, a true embodiment of the path. The Buddha, with his characteristic gentle smile, recognized the sincerity and wisdom embedded in Ananda's unique conditions. He accepted, understanding that Ananda's heart was pure, his intentions noble, and his desire to serve rooted in genuine compassion, karuna, for the teachings and for all beings who would benefit from them. From that moment, Ananda stepped into a role that would define his spiritual journey, transforming every task, every journey, every moment of listening into a profound practice. The weight of responsibility, far from being a burden, became a source of strength, anchoring him in the present, fostering a deep sense of contentment in his chosen path, and solidifying his commitment to the Dharma. Ananda's request and the conditions he set are not merely historical anecdotes. They embody core Buddhist principles, particularly the emphasis on ethics and sila. By refusing personal advantages, he demonstrated a clear understanding of non-attachment, ensuring that his service was untainted by personal craving or the desire for recognition. This conscious detachment from material and social benefits allowed him to approach his duties with a mind free from the suffering that often accompanies ambition. His actions served as a living lesson for the entire Sangha, illustrating that true service emerges from a place of pure intention rather than from a pursuit of self-gratification, aligning perfectly with the path of inner freedom. His role as the Buddha's attendant was far more than a simple duty. It was a continuous, active form of meditation, a practice of full presence. Every time Ananda fetched water, prepared the Buddha's seat, or accompanied him on his arms round, he did so with a meticulous awareness, a sati that transformed mundane tasks into sacred actions. This constant engagement, without being consumed by it, cultivated a deep sense of mindfulness, allowing him to be fully available to the Buddha's needs and to the teachings unfolding around him. It was a testament to how the path of service, when undertaken with such dedication, becomes a potent vehicle for spiritual growth and the cultivation of a bodhisattva heart. Ananda's life of service truly exemplified the power of a mind dedicated to the Dharma. He understood that his purpose was to facilitate the Buddha's mission, to ensure the teachings reached as many ears and hearts as possible. This selflessness, this unwavering commitment, was a profound expression of his developing wisdom, prajna. He found deep satisfaction not in what he gained, but in what he gave, embodying a spirit of contentment that flowed from his humble dedication. His presence was a constant reminder that the path to awakening is often paved with quiet acts of service, performed with a generous spirit and a mind rooted in equanimity and compassion. As Shunryu Suzuki Roshi once taught, the greatest service you can render is to awaken yourself. Ananda's life illustrates this profound truth beautifully. While serving the Buddha, he was simultaneously serving his own awakening, cultivating the very qualities that would eventually lead him to liberation. His devotion was not blind obedience, but an intelligent, engaged practice that honed his awareness and deepened his understanding of the impermanence of all things and the importance of ethical conduct. This dual pursuit of external service and internal transformation made his journey a beacon for all who seek to integrate their spiritual practice into the fabric of daily life. Reflecting on Ananda's humble request, we are invited to consider how our own acts of service, big or small, can become pathways to inner peace and self-knowledge. There is no need for grand gestures or public acclaim. The simple act of approaching a task with full presence, of offering kindness without expectation, cultivates a profound sense of sufficiency and contentment. Ananda's example gently reminds us that true freedom lies not in what we accumulate, but in the spaciousness of a heart unburdened by craving, finding joy and meaning in the simple act of being present and useful in the world, embracing the natural flow of existence. Ananda's meticulous attention to his duties, his unwavering presence, and his pure intentions in serving the Buddha laid the foundation for another extraordinary gift: his unparalleled memory. This capacity to recall every word, every nuance of the Dharma would become an indispensable treasure for the future of the teachings. As we gently drift deeper into this tranquil narrative, let us prepare to explore how this remarkable memory, cultivated through dedicated service, became the vital thread that preserved the Buddha's wisdom for generations to come. The gift of memory, preserving the Dharma. Ananda's unparalleled gift was not just a remarkable capacity for recall, but a profound expression of his full presence, a sati so complete that every word spoken by the Buddha, every nuance of his teachings, settled deep within his consciousness as if etched in crystal. He cultivated an observing awareness that allowed him to absorb the Dharma not merely as information, but as lived experience. This extraordinary ability was not a mere trick of the mind, but the natural outcome of his dedicated service and his unwavering commitment to mindfulness, transforming him into an invaluable vessel for the preservation of the Buddha's wisdom. His mind, clear and unburdened by the usual distractions of ego or personal agenda, became a perfect mirror reflecting the profound truths unveiled before him. Imagine Ananda seated amidst the Sangha, perhaps beneath the rustling leaves of a Bodhi tree, or within the cool shade of a simple monastery, his posture serene, his gaze steady. The air might have been thick with the scent of jasmine, or damp from a recent rain, but Ananda's attention remained solely on the Buddha. He heard the gentle cadence of the Buddha's voice, each word resonating with wisdom, prajna, and compassion, metta. He felt the collective breath of the assembly, the quiet murmurs of understanding, and the occasional sigh of a troubled heart finding solace. In these moments, Ananda was not just listening, he was absorbing, embodying, allowing the Dharma to flow through him without resistance, a testament to his deep inner peace. The sheer volume of teachings delivered by the Buddha over 45 years was immense, encompassing discourses on everything from the intricacies of karma to the liberating insights of anatta, from the practicalities of monastic life to the profound truths of nirvana. Yet, Ananda's mind, through his sustained practice of conscious breathing, anapanasati, seemed to hold it all. He could recall the exact circumstances of each teaching, the specific questions asked, the parables used, and the precise words spoken. It was as if his consciousness had become a vast, tranquil lake, perfectly still and clear, reflecting every star in the night sky without distortion, a living archive of profound spiritual guidance and ethical teachings. His ability to retain the Dharma was not born of strenuous intellectual effort or rote memorization, but rather from a deep, experiential understanding. Ananda listened with his entire being, his heart open, his mind receptive, allowing the teachings to permeate his very essence. This deep listening was a form of vipassana, an insight meditation where he observed the arising and passing of thoughts and sensations, allowing the Buddha's words to settle without clinging or resistance. He understood that the teachings were not abstract concepts, but living instructions for navigating the complexities of existence, for understanding suffering and finding the path to its cessation, nirodha. This profound memory, cultivated through unwavering sati, became the cornerstone of Ananda's service and his critical role in the Sangha. His ethical conduct, sila, had established him as trustworthy, and his capacity for full presence allowed him to truly hear and internalize the Dharma. He understood that his memory was not just for personal benefit, but a sacred trust for the preservation of the teachings. This responsibility was immense, yet he carried it with an equanimity that spoke of his deep understanding of the path. He knew that accurate recall was essential for future generations to find the same inner freedom that the Buddha offered, a tangible link to the Buddha mind. It was not merely a passive storage of information, but an active, living comprehension. Ananda's wisdom, prajna, blossomed as he continually reflected upon the teachings, seeing their interconnectedness and their practical application. He could explain complex concepts with clarity, drawing from the vast reservoir of his memory, making the Dharma accessible to those who sought understanding. This depth of insight went beyond simple recall. It was an embodied wisdom, a direct knowing that allowed him to articulate the path with authority and compassion, guiding others towards their own self-knowledge and liberation from the endless cycle of craving and attachment. Consider a moment when a new disciple, bewildered by a particular teaching, would approach Ananda. With a gentle smile, Ananda might close his eyes for a brief, sacred pause, allowing his consciousness to drift back to the original scene. He would then recount the discourse, not just the words, but the atmosphere, the specific questions that prompted the Buddha's response, the very feeling of that moment. This vivid recollection, imbued with his own deep understanding and conscious breathing, made the Dharma come alive for the questioner, offering clarity and guidance. It was a testament to how his inner freedom allowed for such precise and compassionate sharing of wisdom. As the great master Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, when we are mindful, deeply in touch with the present moment, our understanding of what is happening deepens, and we begin to be filled with acceptance. Ananda's memory was precisely this, a deep, mindful acceptance of every teaching, every word, allowing it to reside fully within him. His mind was not cluttered with distractions, but clear and focused, enabling him to be a perfect receptacle for the Dharma. This sustained awareness, this absence of resistance, was his secret, a practice of non-attachment to fleeting thoughts, allowing the profound truths to settle and remain. This gift of memory, nurtured by his unwavering sati and his commitment to the path, ensured that the Buddha's teachings would not fade into obscurity after his passing. Ananda became the living embodiment of the Dharma, a bridge between the enlightened one and future generations. His meticulous recall, fueled by a heart full of compassion, made him the primary source for the compilation of the suttas, the discourses of the Buddha, ensuring that the noble truths and the noble eightfold path would endure, continuing to guide countless beings towards inner peace and the cessation of suffering. His life was a testament to the power of a mind dedicated to preserving truth. Ananda's dedication to listening and remembering was not merely an intellectual feat. It was a profound act of love for the Dharma. This deep absorption of the teachings naturally led him to witness, firsthand, the subtle yet powerful lessons embedded in the Buddha's daily life and the world around them. As we continue this contemplative journey, let us turn our attention to how Ananda, through his keen observation, began to grasp the profound truth of impermanence, anicca, a fundamental insight that would shape his understanding of existence and pave his own path to inner freedom. Witnessing wisdom, lessons in impermanence. In his role as the Buddha's constant companion, Ananda was afforded the unique opportunity to witness the Dharma not only in spoken words, but also in the quiet, unfolding moments of daily life. He walked beside the Buddha through bustling villages and serene forests, observed the changing seasons, and saw the subtle shifts in the natural world. These observations were not passive. They were infused with his cultivated mindfulness, sati, allowing him to perceive the deeper currents beneath the surface of appearances. Every sunrise and sunset, every blossoming flower and falling leaf became a living lesson, whispering truths that transcended language, guiding him towards a profound understanding of existence. One crisp morning, as the Buddha and Ananda walked along a path fringed with wild blossoms, a gentle breeze rustled through the trees. Ananda noticed a vibrant red flower, its petals beginning to droop, a subtle fading already apparent in its once perfect form. A fleeting sense of sadness touched his heart, a momentary clinging to the beauty that was inevitably passing. The air was cool against his skin, carrying the sweet scent of dew-kissed earth, yet the sight of the fading blossom evoked a poignant awareness of life's delicate transience. This small personal observation, though seemingly insignificant, stirred a deeper inquiry within his conscious awareness. The Buddha, attuned to the subtle shifts in Ananda's demeanor, paused beside the wilting flower. He did not speak immediately, but simply gazed upon it with a serene, accepting expression. His presence was a teaching in itself, radiating a profound equanimity. Ananda watched, absorbing the silent lesson. Then, with a soft voice, the Buddha remarked, "Ananda, observe how even the most beautiful forms arise, flourish, and inevitably pass. This is the nature of all conditioned things. Do not cling to what is fleeting, for in clinging lies suffering, Trishna." His words were not a reprimand, but a gentle invitation to see reality as it truly is, a natural flow of arising and ceasing, Wu Wei. This simple exchange illuminated the profound truth of anicca, impermanence, a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. Anicca teaches us that everything in the phenomenal world, from our bodies and thoughts to relationships and possessions, is constantly changing, arising, and passing away. There is nothing fixed or permanent. Understanding this truth is not meant to evoke despair, but rather to liberate us from the suffering that arises when we desperately try to hold on to what is inherently transient. It is an invitation to embrace the natural flow of life, to find inner freedom by letting go of our attachments and expectations, cultivating a deep sense of acceptance. By truly grasping anicca, we begin to loosen our grip on craving, trishna, and the endless cycle of desiring things to be other than they are. When we resist change, when we cling to pleasant experiences or push away unpleasant ones, we create our own suffering. The Buddha's teaching, witnessed by Ananda, showed that acknowledging impermanence allows us to cultivate a non-attachment to outcomes and experiences. It fosters a deeper contentment and sufficiency, knowing that every moment, whether joyful or challenging, is a unique and fleeting expression of existence. This understanding is a crucial step on the path to nirvana, the cessation of suffering. Ananda also witnessed the Buddha's teachings on impermanence through the passing of dear members of the Sangha. He saw the grief that arose, but also the Buddha's steadfast calm, his unwavering compassion for the suffering of others, while simultaneously holding the truth of anicca. There was a time when an aged monk, known for his gentle wisdom, fell ill and passed peacefully under a mango tree. Ananda felt a pang of sorrow, a natural human response to loss, but he also observed the Buddha's serene acceptance, his quiet acknowledgement of the natural cycle of life and death, an example of perfect equanimity in the face of inevitable change. This observation honed Ananda's practice of equanimous observation, a key aspect of Vipassana meditation. He learned to observe phenomena, both internal and external, without judgment, without clinging, and without aversion. The passing of a flower, the changing seasons, the aging of a body, the arising and ceasing of thoughts and emotions, all were seen with a clear, steady gaze. This cultivated a beginner's mind, Shoshin, allowing him to perceive each moment as fresh and new, free from preconceived notions or the heavy weight of past expectations. He understood that true wisdom, prajna, lay in seeing things as they truly are, in their inherent impermanence. As the Buddha himself wisely stated in his final moments, all conditioned things are subject to decay. Strive on with diligence for your own liberation. This profound instruction, which Ananda would carry in his heart, encapsulates the essence of impermanence and the call to action it inspires. It is a reminder that while everything changes, our diligent practice of the Dharma, our commitment to the noble eightfold path, can lead us to a state beyond decay, to inner freedom and lasting peace. It is a call to awaken to the truth of anicca, not to fear it, but to use it as a catalyst for genuine transformation. Reflecting on these lessons, we are invited to consider how we embrace impermanence in our own lives. Can we find peace in the ever-changing landscape of our experiences, accepting the natural flow, wu-wei, of joy and sorrow, gain and loss? Can we practice letting go of our need for things to remain static, cultivating a deeper sense of contentment and gratitude for each fleeting moment? This acceptance of anicca is not resignation, but a powerful act of liberation, allowing us to live with greater ease and inner peace, free from the suffering of clinging to the transient. Ananda's daily witnessing of impermanence was a constant, gentle reminder that nothing is truly fixed, not even the self as we perceive it. These profound lessons in the ever-changing nature of phenomena began to prepare his mind for an even deeper insight, the understanding of anatta, the concept of non-self. As we continue our journey, we will explore how Ananda wrestled with and ultimately embraced this radical truth, moving beyond the illusion of a separate, enduring self towards the liberating realization of emptiness, sunyata, and the vastness of Buddha mind. The struggle within, craving, and attachment. Even for one as devoted and mindful as Ananda, the path to liberation was not without its internal challenges. Despite his close proximity to the Buddha and his profound understanding of the Dharma, Ananda, like all beings, grappled with the subtle yet pervasive forces of craving, trishna, and attachment. These deeply ingrained patterns of the mind, rooted in the illusion of a separate self, manifested as desires for comfort, aversion to discomfort, and a clinging to familiar experiences, all contributing to the inherent suffering of conditioned existence. His journey reveals that even with immense wisdom and compassion, the work of self-knowledge is a continuous process of observing awareness and letting go. One warm afternoon, after a long day of travel and teaching, Ananda found himself feeling a deep weariness. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the dusty path, and he longed for the cool, quiet solitude of a particular grove he knew, a place where the scent of night-blooming jasmine always brought a sense of peace. As they continued to walk towards a less inviting lodging, a subtle irritation began to stir within him. A quiet craving for that specific comfort, a resistance to the present reality. He felt the familiar pull of trishna, a slight tightening in his chest, a flicker of discontent, even amidst the serene presence of the Buddha. The Buddha, ever observant, paused and turned to Ananda, his gaze gentle yet penetrating. "Ananda," he inquired softly, "is there a particular burden you carry this evening? A longing for a place other than this?" Ananda, humbled by the Buddha's insight, confessed his subtle attachment to the idea of the jasmine grove and the quiet irritation at its absence. The Buddha listened with compassion, then explained, "It is this longing, this trishna, for things to be otherwise, that creates suffering. The grove, the scent, the comfort, all are impermanent, anicca. True peace, inner peace, arises when we release our grip on these cravings and embrace what is, fully present in this moment." This interaction was a profound lesson for Ananda, revealing the insidious nature of craving, even in its most subtle forms. He realized that Trishna was not only about grand desires, but also about the small, persistent preferences that dictate our reactions to daily life. The craving for a specific comfort, the aversion to a slight inconvenience, these were the roots of suffering. His conscious breathing deepened as he absorbed the teaching, understanding that true freedom lay in cultivating equanimity towards all experiences, letting go of the need for things to conform to his expectations, and accepting the present moment just as it was, with sufficiency. Ananda's personal struggles with attachment also extended to his deep affection for the Buddha himself. While his devotion was pure, there were moments when the thought of the Buddha's eventual passing would bring a pang of sorrow, a clinging to the presence of his beloved teacher. This attachment, though born of love and reverence, was still a form of trishna, a resistance to the inevitable impermanence of all things. He had to learn to love without clinging, to appreciate the Buddha's presence while simultaneously accepting the truth of anicca, a profound lesson in non-attachment that would prepare him for the ultimate loss. The path of a bodhisattva, one dedicated to the awakening of all beings, requires a continuous letting go of the self, of personal preferences, and of the ego's demands. Ananda, through these internal struggles, was refining his understanding of anatta, the concept of non-self. He began to see that the I that craved the jasmine grove or clung to the Buddha's physical presence was an ever-changing construct, not a fixed entity. This observing awareness, a form of vipassana, allowed him to witness these mental formations without identifying with them, slowly untangling himself from the roots of suffering. He understood that the noble truths, particularly the truth of suffering, and the truth of its cessation, nirodha, were not abstract concepts, but lived realities. His own experience of subtle craving and the suffering it caused deepened his empathy and compassion, metta, for others who grappled with more intense forms of trishna. This self-knowledge, gained through honest introspection and the Buddha's gentle guidance, solidified his commitment to the Noble Eightfold Path, understanding that true peace arises from the diligent practice of ethics, concentration, and wisdom, leading to inner freedom. As Alan Yurts eloquently put it, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Ananda, by acknowledging his cravings and attachments, was learning to plunge into the reality of his own mind, to move with its currents without being swept away. He was practicing the art of non-attachment, not by suppressing desires, but by observing them with equanimity, understanding their transient nature, and choosing not to feed them. This conscious choice, repeated moment by moment, strengthened his resolve and deepened his peace. These internal struggles were not signs of weakness, but integral steps on Ananda's path to full awakening. They taught him patience, self-compassion, and the profound wisdom that liberation is a gradual process of refinement and letting go. By facing his own subtle forms of Trishna, he developed a deeper understanding of the universal nature of suffering and the profound relief that comes from releasing its grip. His journey reminds us that the path is not about perfection, but about persistent, gentle awareness and the continuous cultivation of non-attachment. Ananda's personal journey through craving and attachment profoundly deepened his capacity for empathy and understanding. His own struggles allowed him to connect with the suffering of others on a more profound level, transforming his service into an act of true compassion. As we continue, let us explore how this cultivated compassion, metta and karuna, manifested in Ananda's actions, making him not just a devoted attendant, but a true bodhisattva, dedicated to the well-being of all beings, a living embodiment of the Buddha's profound teachings on kindness and interconnectedness. Compassion in action. Ananda's heart. Ananda's heart was a wellspring of compassion, metta and karuna, flowing freely towards all beings he encountered. His close relationship with the Buddha, coupled with his own internal work on non-attachment and understanding suffering, deepened his capacity for empathy, making him a natural advocate and comforter within the Sangha. He possessed an innate ability to perceive the distress of others, whether it was a monk struggling with a difficult teaching, a layperson burdened by worldly worries, or even an animal in need. This deep sensitivity, combined with his wisdom prajna, often moved him to intercede or offer solace, embodying the Buddha's teachings in the most practical and heartfelt ways, a true expression of the path. One day, Ananda and the Buddha were passing through a small village where they encountered an elderly, infirm monk, Brother Tissa, lying alone in his cell, neglected and unwell. Brother Tissa had been suffering from a severe skin ailment, and his robes were soiled, his body weak. A palpable sense of loneliness and despair hung in the air around him. Ananda's heart immediately went out to the old monk. He felt a deep pang of karuna, a profound desire to alleviate the suffering before him. Understanding that true spiritual practice extended beyond meditation to active, compassionate care for the vulnerable within the Sangha. Without hesitation, Ananda approached Brother Tissa, his face filled with gentle concern. He knelt beside him, speaking softly, offering words of comfort and reassurance. Then, with the Buddha's quiet approval, Ananda began the laborious task of cleaning Brother Tissa. He carefully washed his body, changed his soiled robes, and tidied his cell, performing these acts of service with a meticulous attention and full presence that transformed the mundane into the sacred. The air, once heavy with neglect, began to lighten, filled now with the quiet dignity of care, a testament to the power of metta in action, a profound act of self-knowledge. The Buddha, observing Ananda's selfless actions, then gathered the other monks and delivered a powerful teaching. "Monks," he said, "whoever would nurse me should nurse the sick, for in nursing the sick, you nurse me." This profound statement, witnessed and remembered by Ananda, underscored the essential interconnectedness of all beings and the paramount importance of compassion in action. It was a direct instruction that the path to awakening, the Dharma, was not solely about individual spiritual attainment, but was deeply intertwined with the well-being of the entire Sangha, and indeed, all of existence, embodying the Bodhisattva ideal. Ananda's role as an intercessor often saw him speaking on behalf of others, clarifying doubts, or even gently challenging norms when he perceived a need for greater compassion. For instance, it was Ananda who, after persistent and heartfelt appeals, convinced the Buddha to allow women to enter the Sangha and become nuns, establishing the order of bhikkhunis. His arguments were rooted in the principle of equality and the capacity for all beings, regardless of gender, to attain liberation. This act of advocacy, born from his deep karuna, was a revolutionary step, expanding the path of inner freedom to a wider community. His compassion also extended to the animals they encountered on their travels. There are stories of Ananda gently tending to injured birds, offering water to thirsty deer, or calming frightened creatures with his serene presence. These small, often unseen acts revealed a heart that saw no separation between human and non-human life, a mind that recognized the inherent value and interconnectedness of all sentient beings. This universal metta, free from any hint of attachment, was a living embodiment of the principle of non-harming, one of the fundamental precepts of Buddhist ethics. Ananda understood that true compassion was not merely a feeling, but an active engagement with the suffering of the world, tempered by wisdom and non-attachment. It meant offering help when possible, listening with an open heart, and speaking words of kindness and truth. His steady presence, his ability to listen without judgment, and his willingness to serve made him a beloved figure, a source of comfort and guidance for many, a living example of the Buddha mind. He demonstrated that the path of a bodhisattva is one of continuous giving, a constant outflow of metta and karuna, without expectation of return. As Dogen Zenji taught, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by all things. Ananda, in his acts of compassion, was continually forgetting himself, allowing his actions to flow from a place of pure, selfless care. In tending to Brother Tissa, in advocating for women, in showing kindness to animals, he was not thinking of his own merit or spiritual gain, but simply responding to suffering with an open heart. This forgetting of the self, this letting go of ego, was his path to inner freedom and profound self-knowledge. Reflecting on Ananda's compassionate heart, we are invited to consider how we can cultivate more metta and karuna in our own lives. It is not about grand gestures, but about the small daily acts of kindness. A listening ear, a helping hand, a gentle word. By extending compassion to others, we simultaneously nurture it within ourselves, fostering a deeper sense of interconnectedness and inner peace. This practice helps us to release the suffering of separation and embrace the inherent unity of all beings, finding sufficiency in the simple act of caring. Ananda's compassionate heart, always open to the suffering of others, naturally led him to ask many questions. He sought not only to alleviate immediate distress, but also to understand the deeper causes of suffering and how the Dharma could offer lasting liberation. As we continue this journey of contemplation, we will explore how Ananda's questioning mind, driven by his profound compassion and desire for clarity, became a crucial conduit for the Buddha's teachings, ensuring that no doubt remained unaddressed and no path to wisdom unexplored. The questioning mind, seeking clarity. Ananda possessed not only a heart brimming with compassion, but also a mind keen for clarity, a profound curiosity that drove him to ask many questions. He often acted as a bridge between the Buddha and the Sangha, articulating the unspoken doubts of others, or seeking deeper understanding for the benefit of all. His questions were never born of idle curiosity or intellectual pride, but from a genuine desire to illuminate the Dharma, to make the complex teachings accessible, and to ensure that the path to liberation was clear for every seeker. This relentless pursuit of wisdom, prajna, was a testament to his dedication and his commitment to self-knowledge and the well-being of all beings. Imagine a scene where the Buddha had just delivered a profound discourse on the nature of suffering, perhaps in a quiet forest grove, the air still and heavy with the weight of the teaching. While many monks might nod in silent contemplation, some would undoubtedly harbor subtle confusions or uncertainties. Ananda, with his acute observing awareness, often sensed these unspoken questions. He would then, with respectful humility, step forward and articulate these doubts, not for himself alone, but as a voice for the collective, ensuring that no one was left behind in their understanding of the noble truths. One such instance involved a teaching on the concept of anatta, the non-self, a particularly challenging doctrine for many. The Buddha had explained how the self is merely a collection of impermanent phenomena, form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness, none of which are a permanent, unchanging I. Ananda noticed a flicker of confusion in the eyes of some monks, a subtle resistance to letting go of the deeply ingrained idea of a fixed self. He then gently asked the Buddha to elaborate, to perhaps offer an analogy or a different perspective that might help clarify this liberating yet counterintuitive truth. The Buddha, appreciating Ananda's thoughtful intercession, often responded with further explanations, parables, or analogies, tailored to address the specific nuances of the question. Through these dialogues, Ananda became a conduit for deeper understanding, ensuring that the Dharma was not just heard, but truly grasped. His willingness to ask, even when others hesitated, fostered an environment of open inquiry within the Sangha, reinforcing the idea that wisdom, prajna, is cultivated through diligent questioning and honest exploration, rather than blind acceptance or passive listening. Ananda's questions were often rooted in practical concerns, seeking to apply the profound philosophical insights of the Dharma to the realities of daily life. He might ask about the best way to cultivate mindfulness, sati, in mundane tasks, or how to maintain equanimity amidst the distractions of the world. These inquiries help to translate abstract principles into actionable practices, making the Noble Eightfold Path a tangible guide for all. He understood that the teachings were meant to be lived, not just intellectually comprehended, and his questions often sought to bridge this gap between theory and experience. His relentless pursuit of clarity also demonstrated a profound commitment to the ethics, sila, of the Sangha. By ensuring that the teachings were understood without ambiguity, Ananda helped to prevent misinterpretations that could lead to wrong views or unskillful actions. He recognized that accurate understanding was fundamental to right conduct and to the collective journey towards inner peace and liberation. His role as a clarifier was therefore essential for maintaining the purity and integrity of the Dharma, preserving it for future generations. Ananda's questioning mind was also a testament to his beginner's mind, Shoshin. Despite his long years of service and his intimate knowledge of the Buddha's teachings, he never assumed he knew everything. He approached each new discourse, each new situation, with a fresh perspective, an open heart, and a willingness to learn. This humility, this continuous stance of inquiry, allowed his wisdom to deepen continually, preventing complacency and fostering a dynamic engagement with the Dharma, a true practice of self-knowledge and non-attachment to fixed ideas. As Alan Watts once observed, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Ananda's approach, however, was not to leave the muddy water alone, but to gently stir it with precise questions, allowing the sediment of confusion to settle and the clarity to emerge. His inquiries were like carefully placed stones in a stream, guiding the flow of understanding, ensuring that the Dharma reached its destination with minimal obstruction. This active engagement with the teachings was a powerful form of cultivation, leading to profound insights and a deeper sense of inner freedom. Through Ananda's persistent and insightful questions, the Buddha was often prompted to elaborate on aspects of the Dharma that might otherwise have remained implicit. Many crucial details, nuances, and practical applications of the teachings were brought to light precisely because Ananda dared to ask. His role was therefore not just that of a passive recipient, but an active participant in the co-creation of the documented Dharma, ensuring its richness and comprehensiveness for the Sangha and for all who would later seek the path to nirvana. Ananda's journey of seeking clarity through questioning was an integral part of his cultivation of wisdom, prajna, and his understanding of the Dharma. This intellectual and spiritual curiosity was always balanced by his commitment to practice, to embodying the teachings in his own life. As we continue, let us delve into how Ananda actively cultivated concentration, samadhi, and engaged in personal meditation, transforming abstract wisdom into concrete experience, paving his own way towards full presence and the cessation of suffering. The path to awakening, cultivating samadhi. While Ananda was renowned for his memory and his questioning mind, his path to awakening was deeply rooted in the diligent cultivation of concentration, samadhi, and personal meditation practice. He understood that intellectual comprehension alone was insufficient. True wisdom, prajna, arises from direct experience, from a mind stilled and focused. His daily routine, amidst his duties of service, always included dedicated time for conscious breathing, anapanasati, and periods of quiet contemplation, anchoring him in full presence and guiding him towards deeper states of inner peace. Imagine Ananda finding a secluded spot after a day of attending to the Buddha, perhaps beneath a sprawling banyan tree, its aerial roots dangling like ancient beards, or beside a gently flowing river, its murmurs a natural mantra. He would settle into a comfortable posture, allowing his body to relax, his breath to deepen. The sounds of the forest, the chirping of crickets, the rustling of leaves would become part of the spacious awareness, not distractions, but aspects of the present moment. This deliberate act of withdrawing from external stimuli and turning inward was his sacred pause, a time to cultivate samadhi. His practice of conscious breathing, anapanasati, was fundamental. He would gently bring his attention to the sensation of his breath, feeling the cool air entering his nostrils, the rise and fall of his abdomen. When his mind inevitably wandered, as minds do, he would acknowledge the thought without judgment, without craving or aversion, and gently guide his attention back to the breath. This repeated act of returning, of letting go of distraction, was the essence of his concentration practice, slowly strengthening his mental focus and developing a deeper sense of equanimity. Ananda understood that samadhi was not about forcing the mind into stillness, but about nurturing a gentle, sustained attention. It was like taming a wild elephant, not through brute force, but with patience and consistent guidance. Through this practice, he began to experience moments of profound inner peace, where the usual chatter of the mind subsided and a spacious clarity emerged. These moments, however fleeting, offered glimpses into the true nature of his mind, the Buddha mind, free from the suffering of attachment and the illusion of a separate self. His meditation practice also involved vipassana, insight meditation, where he observed the impermanence, anicca, of all phenomena, both internal and external. He would notice the arising and passing of thoughts, feelings, and sensations, recognizing their transient nature without clinging to them. This observing awareness allowed him to see directly how craving, trishna, led to suffering, and how releasing attachment brought about a sense of inner freedom. It was a continuous process of self-knowledge, moving beyond intellectual understanding to direct experiential wisdom. Even amidst the demands of his service, Ananda maintained a deep commitment to these practices. He knew that to truly serve the Dharma, he first had to embody it. His inner peace, his steady demeanor, and his compassionate responses were direct reflections of his disciplined meditation. The strength of his concentration allowed him to be fully present, sati, in every interaction, every task, making his service not just an external duty, but an integrated spiritual practice, a continuous flow of mindfulness and awareness. The Buddha himself often emphasized the importance of samadhi as a prerequisite for wisdom. He taught that a concentrated mind is like a clear, still lamp capable of illuminating the deepest truths. Ananda, by diligently cultivating this stillness, was preparing his mind to receive and fully comprehend the profound insights of the Dharma, not just to memorize them, but to truly realize them within his own being, moving beyond the superficial understanding to a direct, unmediated experience of nirvana. As the Buddha taught, just as a skilled goldsmith, after heating, beating, and purifying gold, makes it pliable and workable, so too a monk, through diligent practice of samadhi, makes his mind pliable and workable for the penetration of the Dharma. Ananda's persistent efforts in meditation were precisely this refining process, purifying his mind of distractions and attachments, making it a perfect instrument for the realization of wisdom and the path to liberation. This continuous self-compassion allowed him to persevere through challenges. His journey reminds us that the path to awakening is not a sudden leap, but a gradual cultivation, a steady commitment to practice. Even for those closest to the source of wisdom, personal effort and discipline are essential. Ananda's dedication to samadhi and anapanasati offers a powerful example of how consistent, gentle practice can transform the mind, leading to deeper states of full presence, inner freedom, and the profound realization of the Buddha mind within. Ananda's diligent cultivation of samadhi and his deep understanding of the Dharma prepared him for the ultimate test of his practice, the profound grief and sorrow that would accompany the Buddha's passing. This immense loss would challenge his equanimity and his understanding of impermanence like never before. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda navigated this pivotal moment, transforming his personal sorrow into a deeper realization of detachment and the enduring power of the Dharma. Facing loss, the great passing. The inevitable truth of impermanence, anicca, which Ananda had so diligently observed in the changing seasons and fading blossoms, eventually manifested in its most profound and personal form, the impending parinirvana of the Buddha. Despite decades of teachings on detachment and the transient nature of all conditioned things, the thought of losing his beloved teacher, mentor, and spiritual guide filled Ananda's heart with an overwhelming sorrow. This moment, perhaps more than any other, tested the depth of his understanding and his capacity for equanimity, revealing the raw human experience of grief, even for those closest to the path of inner freedom. As the Buddha, aged and frail, approached his final days in Kusinara, a palpable sense of gravity settled over the Sangha. The air seemed to thicken with unspoken sadness, the usual sounds of the forest muted by the weight of the impending loss. Ananda, ever at the Buddha's side, felt a deep ache in his chest, a profound sense of personal suffering, Trishna, as he witnessed the gradual decline of the one he had served with such unwavering devotion. His conscious breathing became shallow at times, reflecting the turmoil within, a stark reminder that even the most advanced practitioners are not immune to the pains of attachment. In a poignant moment, as the Buddha lay between two sala trees, Ananda withdrew to a nearby dwelling, leaning against the doorpost and weeping. His grief was raw and unconcealed. "Alas," he cried, "I am still a learner, with much yet to do, and my master is about to pass away from me, he who was so kind." This outburst revealed the depth of his human attachment, his clinging to the Buddha's physical presence, despite all the teachings on anatta and non-attachment. It was a moment of profound vulnerability, a testament to the powerful bond he shared with his teacher, and a reminder that the path is walked one step at a time with self-compassion. The Buddha, sensing Ananda's distress, sent for him. With gentle words, he reminded Ananda of the universal truth of anicca. "Have I not taught you, Ananda, that it is the nature of all things dear and delightful to be subject to change, to separation, to dissolution? How is it possible, Ananda, that what is born, has come into being, is compounded, and is subject to decay, should not decay?" These words were not meant to diminish Ananda's sorrow, but to offer a framework for understanding it, to guide him towards a deeper acceptance and letting go. This moment was a crucial turning point for Ananda. It forced him to confront the ultimate lesson of detachment. His love for the Buddha was pure, but his clinging to the Buddha's physical form was a source of suffering. The Buddha's words were an invitation to release this craving Trishna, to find peace not in the permanence of external forms, but in the enduring truth of the Dharma itself, which is beyond form and beyond decay. It was a call to find inner freedom by fully embracing the natural flow of existence, Wu Wei, even in the face of profound loss, moving towards a deeper self-knowledge. Ananda's journey through grief was also a powerful lesson for the entire Sangha. It showed that even the closest disciple of the Buddha experienced human emotions, that the path to awakening did not negate feelings, but transformed how one related to them. His vulnerability made him relatable, demonstrating that compassion, metta, extended even to one's own suffering. By openly expressing his sorrow and then gently accepting the Buddha's counsel, Ananda modeled a way to navigate loss with both humanity and spiritual wisdom, cultivating equanimity. The ultimate lesson was not to suppress grief, but to observe it with mindfulness, sati, recognizing its impermanent nature. Ananda had to learn that true devotion meant not clinging to the teacher, but embodying the teachings. The Buddha's wisdom, prajna, was not confined to his physical body, but resided in the Dharma, in the Sangha, and ultimately within the heart of every practitioner. This realization was a profound step towards his own liberation, towards understanding that nirvana was a state of being, not a destination tied to an external figure. As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully articulated, the wave is there, and the wave goes down, and it becomes water. But the water is still there. The Buddha is like the water, and his manifestation is like the wave. Ananda was learning to see beyond the wave, beyond the physical manifestation, to the underlying water of the Dharma, which is eternal and unchanging. This perspective allowed him to begin to release his attachment to the form and find solace in the timeless essence of the teachings, cultivating a deep sense of sufficiency and peace. The Buddha's passing was the ultimate teaching on anicca, demonstrating that even an enlightened being is subject to the laws of conditioned existence. For Ananda, it was a crucible that refined his understanding of non-attachment and deepened his commitment to the Dharma. He had to move beyond the comfort of the Buddha's physical presence and find his own internal source of wisdom and strength. This profound experience prepared him for an even greater responsibility: to ensure that the Buddha's teachings would be accurately preserved for all future generations, a task for which his extraordinary memory was uniquely suited. Ananda's profound grief at the Buddha's passing was a personal trial, but it also solidified his resolve to uphold the Dharma. He understood that the preservation of the teachings was now paramount, a sacred trust. As we continue, let us explore how Ananda, despite his sorrow, played an absolutely critical role in the first Buddhist council, meticulously recalling every word the Buddha had spoken, ensuring that the precious wisdom of the noble truths and the noble eightfold path would endure, guiding countless beings towards the cessation of suffering. The first council, upholding the teachings. In the immediate aftermath of the Buddha's parinirvana, a profound sense of loss and uncertainty permeated the Sangha. The guiding light had extinguished, and the monks, though enlightened, felt the weight of their collective responsibility to preserve the Dharma. It was in this pivotal moment that Ananda's extraordinary memory and his unwavering devotion became absolutely indispensable. He, more than anyone else, had been present for nearly every discourse, every teaching, every nuance of the Buddha's 45 years of ministry, making him the living repository of the sacred wisdom, prajna, that needed to be codified and secured for future generations. Just 3 months after the Buddha's passing, the first Buddhist council was convened at Rajagriha under the patronage of King Ajatasattu and the leadership of Mahakasyapa, one of the Buddha's most senior disciples. 500 arhats, fully enlightened monks, gathered to ensure the purity and accuracy of the Buddha's teachings. The atmosphere was solemn, imbued with a deep sense of purpose. The air was thick with reflection and the quiet determination to honor the Buddha's legacy, a collective act of conscious breathing and full presence, underscoring the importance of the Sangha. Ananda, though not yet an arhat himself, was recognized as the one who held the key to the Buddha's discourses. However, Mahakasyapa initially hesitated to include Ananda in the Council of Arhats, believing that only those who had attained full liberation should participate in such a critical undertaking. This exclusion deeply affected Ananda, stirring within him a renewed determination to achieve his own enlightenment, to fully realize the inner freedom that the Buddha had taught, understanding that his personal spiritual journey was intrinsically linked to his ability to serve the Dharma with unwavering clarity. Driven by this profound sense of responsibility and a deep desire to fulfill his role, Ananda intensified his meditation practice, his conscious breathing, and his observing awareness, pushing beyond his attachment to the past and his lingering sorrow. He focused with an unprecedented intensity, letting go of all remaining traces of craving, trishna, and attachment. It is said that he achieved arhatship on the very night before the council was to officially convene, just as he was about to lie down, in the space between sitting and lying, a moment of profound non-attachment and complete liberation, a true realization of nirvana. With his mind now fully liberated and clear, Ananda took his place at the council. He was called upon to recite the suttas, the discourses of the Buddha. As he began, his voice, calm and steady, filled the assembly hall. He prefaced each discourse with the now famous phrase, "Thus have I heard," a testament to his direct personal recollection. He recounted the teachings with perfect accuracy, recalling the context, the specific words, and the very atmosphere of each event, a living testament to his unparalleled memory and his dedication to the Dharma. His recitation was meticulous, covering the vast breadth of the Buddha's teachings, from the Four Noble Truths to the Noble Eightfold Path, from the nature of karma to the concept of anatta and emptiness, sunyata. Each word was a precious gem, carefully retrieved from the vast treasury of his memory and presented with unwavering precision. The assembled arhats listened intently, verifying the accuracy of his recall against their own understanding, confirming the authenticity of his every utterance, ensuring the purity and integrity of the sacred texts. This moment was a profound act of preservation, ensuring that the original teachings, the Dharma, would not be lost or distorted. Ananda's role was absolutely vital in establishing the canonical texts that would guide generations of practitioners. His work at the First Council laid the foundation for the Buddhist tradition, providing a clear and authentic record of the path to the cessation of suffering, nirodha, and the attainment of inner peace, a true act of compassion, metta, for all future beings. Ananda's contribution was not merely a matter of rote memorization. It was a profound act of embodied wisdom prajna. His years of full presence, sati, beside the Buddha, his deep understanding of the teachings, and his eventual attainment of arhatship imbued his recitation with an authority and clarity that was beyond question. He was not just repeating words, he was transmitting a living tradition, a path to liberation that he himself had walked and fully realized, a testament to his self-knowledge and the original nature of his mind. As Buddha himself once said, "The Dharma and the Vinaya, which I have taught and laid down for you, let them be your teacher when I am gone." Ananda, through his incredible feat of memory and his unwavering dedication, ensured that these teachings, this Dharma, would indeed be the teacher for countless beings across time. His work at the First Council was the ultimate act of service, securing the Buddha's legacy and making the path to inner freedom accessible to all who sought it, a profound act of non-attachment to personal gain. Ananda's heroic effort at the First Council cemented his legacy as the great preserver of the Dharma. Yet, even after this monumental task, his journey of understanding was not complete. He had perfectly recited the teachings, but the deeper challenge lay in moving beyond mere recall to a profound, direct understanding that transcended words. As we continue our contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda, despite his unparalleled memory, had to embrace a beginner's mind, Shoshin, to fully realize the deeper truths of no mind, Mushin, and the true essence of the Buddha mind, the weight of memory, beyond recitation. Having successfully recited the vast corpus of the Buddha's teachings at the First Council, Ananda had fulfilled an immense responsibility, ensuring the Dharma's survival. Yet his journey of spiritual growth was far from over. The challenge now was to move beyond the precise recall of words, beyond the intellectual understanding of concepts, to a profound, direct realization that transcended mere recitation. He had to integrate the teachings so deeply that they became an inseparable part of his being, shifting from knowing the Dharma to embodying it, from memory to direct experience, a transition that demanded a complete embracing of beginner's mind, Shoshin, and the letting go of all intellectual anchors. For decades, Ananda's identity had been intertwined with his role as the Buddha's attendant and the preserver of his words. This very strength, his extraordinary memory, could also become a subtle form of attachment, a clinging to the intellectual framework of the Dharma. The danger was to confuse the map with the territory, to mistake the accurate recounting of the teachings for the direct experience of liberation. He needed to shed the weight of memory, not by forgetting, but by allowing the words to dissolve into pure awareness, into the vast spaciousness of no mind, mushin, where distinctions between self and other, teaching and experience, began to fade. This transition required a radical shift in his practice, a deeper plunge into the heart of meditation. He had to cultivate a beginner's mind, shoshin, a state of openness and receptivity, as if he were encountering the Dharma for the very first time, even after having heard every word countless times. This meant setting aside preconceived notions, releasing the subtle pride of his knowledge, and approaching each moment with fresh eyes and an unburdened heart. It was a call to return to the simplicity of conscious breathing, anapanasati, and equanimous observation, vipassana, allowing wisdom, prajna, to arise spontaneously from pure presence. Ananda found himself contemplating the deeper meaning of emptiness, sunyata, and anatta, non-self. He had recited these concepts perfectly, but now he sought to live them in every fiber of his being. He realized that even his identity as the one who remembers was a conditioned phenomenon, impermanent, anicca, and ultimately empty of inherent existence. This insight required a profound letting go, a release of the subtle clinging to his own spiritual achievements and his historical role, allowing him to rest in the original nature of mind, the Buddha mind, which is beyond all labels and concepts. His meditation practice became less about following specific instructions and more about simply being, resting in shikantaza, just sitting. He allowed thoughts to arise and pass without engagement, without judgment, without craving or aversion. He observed the natural flow of phenomena, wu wei, both internal and external, with a profound sense of non-attachment. This practice of just being allowed him to dissolve the mental constructs that separated him from the direct experience of reality, leading to a profound sense of inner freedom and boundless awareness. The path from intellectual understanding to direct realization is often the most challenging, requiring immense courage and sincerity. Ananda had to face the subtle forms of ego that cling to spiritual knowledge, to let go of the need to know and simply be. This process of self-knowledge involved a deep exploration of his own consciousness, a compassionate inquiry into the very roots of his being, leading him towards a state of complete contentment and sufficiency, where the external world no longer held sway over his inner peace. This period of Ananda's life exemplifies the profound wisdom of Dogen Zenji. To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by all things. Ananda was actively engaged in forgetting the self of the great remembrancer, allowing his individual identity to dissolve into the vast interconnectedness of all phenomena. In this forgetting, he became enlightened by the rustling leaves, the flowing water, the silence between thoughts, realizing the Dharma not as something external, but as the very fabric of existence. As the Buddha often implied, the teachings are like a raft, useful for crossing the river, but not to be carried on one's back once the other shore is reached. Ananda, having used the raft of his memory to cross the river of ignorance for the Sangha, now had to release his grip on it for his own ultimate liberation. This act of letting go, of embracing non-attachment even to the Dharma itself, was the final step towards fully realizing nirvana, the complete cessation of suffering, and experiencing the boundless inner freedom of a fully awakened mind. This journey beyond recitation to direct realization highlights the continuous nature of the spiritual path. Even after decades of devoted practice and monumental service, there is always a deeper layer of letting go, a further refinement of awareness. Ananda's experience teaches us that true wisdom is not accumulated knowledge, but a spacious, open presence, a no-mind, mushin, that sees reality without the filters of concept or memory, resting in the stillness of the Buddha mind. Ananda's profound shift from intellectual recall to direct experience of the Dharma marked a crucial turning point in his personal path. This deep internal work, this letting go of even the sacred weight of memory, paved the way for his own ultimate awakening. As we continue, let us explore the final, transformative steps of Ananda's journey, witnessing how he moved beyond being merely the Buddha's attendant to fully realizing his own inner freedom, attaining arhatship and embodying the Magga, the path, in its entirety. From service to self, Ananda's own awakening. For decades, Ananda's spiritual journey had been inextricably linked to his service to the Buddha, his path illuminated by the guiding light of his teacher. Yet, the Dharma teaches that each being must ultimately walk their own path to liberation, finding their own inner freedom. After the Buddha's passing and the successful compilation of the suttas, Ananda faced the profound challenge of stepping fully into his own spiritual authority, moving beyond the role of attendant to fully realize his own arhatship. This was a period of intense personal practice, a deep dive into self-knowledge, where he sought to embody the cessation of suffering, nirodha, not just recite it. The pressure on Ananda was immense. He was the one who had literally preserved the words of the Buddha, yet he was also the only one among the senior disciples who had not yet attained full enlightenment. This created a subtle tension, a sense of incompleteness that he felt deeply. The Sangha respected him immensely for his memory and compassion, but there was an unspoken expectation for him to fully realize the ultimate goal of the Dharma. This internal and external pressure became a catalyst for an even deeper commitment to his practice, pushing him towards a final, definitive breakthrough. He retreated from the bustling activities of the Sangha when he could, seeking solitude for intense meditation. His practice of conscious breathing, anapanasati, became more refined, his observing awareness, vipassana, more penetrating. He meticulously examined every aspect of his mind, every subtle craving, trishna, every lingering attachment, letting go of them one by one. He understood that liberation was not a gift bestowed by another, but an inner freedom cultivated through diligent effort and unwavering commitment to the noble eightfold path. Ananda focused particularly on the hindrances that still obscured his mind, especially any remaining attachment to his past role or the subtle pride of his vast knowledge. He recognized these as forms of suffering, preventing his mind from fully resting in the spaciousness of emptiness, sunyata. He practiced with an intense beginner's mind, shoshin, shedding layers of conditioning, allowing his original nature, the Buddha mind, to shine through with unhindered clarity. This was a process of profound self-compassion, acknowledging his human struggles while steadfastly moving towards liberation. The moment of Ananda's ultimate awakening is recounted in a beautiful and profound way. It is said that he had been meditating intensely, determined to attain arhatship before the first council began. Exhausted, he decided to lie down. As he transitioned from the sitting posture to the lying posture, in that precise moment of neither sitting nor fully lying, his mind, released from all clinging and effort, spontaneously attained full enlightenment. This in-between moment symbolized the complete letting go of all fixed positions, all attachments to form and effort, a true realization of no mind mushing. This breakthrough was not a sudden burst of light, but the culmination of a lifetime of diligent practice, a profound realization of the Magga, the path, fully embodied. In that instant, Ananda experienced the complete cessation of suffering, nirodha, the profound inner peace of nirvana. He understood, not intellectually but experientially, the truth of anatta, the non-self, and the boundless freedom that arises from releasing the illusion of a separate, enduring self. His mind became like the vast open sky, clear and unburdened, reflecting all phenomena without distortion. Ananda's attainment of arhatship was a powerful testament to the universal applicability of the Dharma. It demonstrated that even after decades of service and proximity to the Buddha, the path to liberation is ultimately an individual journey of self-knowledge, self-compassion, and letting go. His example offered hope and inspiration to countless monks and lay practitioners, showing that diligent practice, unwavering ethics, sila, and persistent wisdom, prajna, inevitably lead to inner freedom and true awakening. As Jack Cornfield reminds us, the things that we are attached to are the things that we are afraid of losing. Ananda's final breakthrough came when he released his last attachments, even to the idea of becoming an arhat. In that moment of complete surrender, of letting go of all striving, he found what he had been seeking all along: the inherent perfection and freedom of his own original nature. This was the ultimate realization of contentment and sufficiency, a profound peace that transcends all conditions. His awakening transformed him. He was no longer merely the Buddha's faithful companion, but a fully enlightened master in his own right, capable of guiding others with the authority of direct experience. His compassion, metta, and karuna deepened even further, now rooted in the boundless wisdom of a liberated mind. He continued to teach, to serve, and to inspire, embodying the Dharma in every breath, every action, a living example of the profound inner freedom that is available to all who walk the path with diligence and an open heart. Ananda's personal awakening, his attainment of arhatship, solidified his wisdom and deepened his understanding of the core Buddhist principles. He had not only recited the noble truths, but had lived and embodied them fully. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda's life, particularly after his own enlightenment, became a continuous, living practice of these truths, demonstrating their practical application in every aspect of existence, guiding us toward our own path of conscious breathing and full presence, the nature of self, anatta, and emptiness. Ananda's journey towards full awakening culminated in a profound, experiential understanding of anatta, the doctrine of non-self, and sunyata, emptiness. These are not concepts to be merely intellectualized, but liberating insights that dissolve the illusion of a separate, permanent self and reveal the interconnected, interdependent nature of all phenomena. For Ananda, who had spent decades observing the impermanence, anicca, of all things, this realization was the final unraveling of suffering, trishna, leading to a boundless inner freedom and a deep sense of peace that transcended all conceptual frameworks, resting in the original nature of mind. Before his enlightenment, Ananda had intellectually grasped anatta, having heard the Buddha teach it countless times. He understood that what we perceive as self is merely a collection of 5 aggregates: form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness, all of which are impermanent and constantly changing. However, the deeply ingrained habit of identifying with these aggregates, of clinging to the idea of a fixed I, was a subtle form of attachment that persisted. His breakthrough to arhatship was the moment this intellectual understanding transformed into direct, undeniable realization, a profound self-knowledge. Imagine Ananda in deep meditation after his awakening. He observed his thoughts, not as his thoughts, but as transient mental events arising and passing like clouds in the sky. He felt sensations in his body, not as my body, but as impersonal experiences of form. He saw the world around him, not as separate objects, but as a dynamic interplay of interconnected phenomena, all empty of inherent, independent existence. This observing awareness, a culmination of his vipassana practice, revealed the illusion of a fixed, enduring self, leading to a profound sense of liberation and contentment. This realization of anatta is intimately linked with the understanding of emptiness, sunyata. Emptiness does not mean nothingness or void. Rather, it signifies that all phenomena are empty of inherent, independent existence. They arise in dependence upon causes and conditions, constantly changing and interpenetrating. A flower is empty of being just a flower because it depends on soil, water, sunlight, and countless other factors. Similarly, the self is empty of being a fixed, independent entity because it arises in dependence on the 5 aggregates and countless other conditions. This insight dissolves all craving and attachment, leading to the cessation of suffering, nirodha. For Ananda, this understanding was liberating. The suffering he had experienced, even his grief at the Buddha's passing, arose from clinging to things as if they were permanent or inherently his. With the realization of anatta and sunyata, he saw that there was no fixed self to suffer, no permanent object to cling to. There was just the natural flow of existence, wu wei, a continuous arising and passing away, all interconnected and empty of inherent self. This perspective brought a profound peace, a boundless compassion metta that extended to all beings, recognizing their shared, empty nature. His wisdom, prajna, deepened immeasurably. He could now teach these profound concepts not just from memory, but from the direct experience of a liberated mind. He could guide others to see through the illusion of self, to release their attachments, and to find their own inner freedom. His explanations of anatta and sunyata were imbued with an authenticity and clarity that resonated deeply, helping disciples to move beyond intellectual confusion to a direct, intuitive grasp of these liberating truths, fostering true self-compassion. This transformation in Ananda's perception of reality was a testament to the power of the Dharma. It showed that the path to awakening is not about adding something new, but about removing the veils of illusion, about seeing what has always been true. The Buddha mind, the original nature, is always present, but it is obscured by our clinging to the idea of a separate self and our attachments to impermanent phenomena. Ananda's journey was one of shedding these illusions, leading him to the profound realization of his own inherent freedom. As Suzuki Roshi taught, in the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, in the expert's mind there are few. Ananda, by embracing a beginner's mind, Shoshin, even after decades of expertise, was able to penetrate the deepest truths of anatta and sunyata. He let go of his expert's mind, his vast memory, and allowed himself to be completely open to the direct experience of reality, free from the constraints of concept. This radical openness was the key to his ultimate liberation, a true example of non-attachment. Reflecting on anatta and sunyata, we are invited to consider how we might loosen our own grip on the idea of a fixed self. Can we observe our thoughts and feelings without identifying with them, seeing them as transient phenomena? Can we recognize the interconnectedness of all things, understanding that nothing exists independently? This contemplation, nurtured by conscious breathing and full presence, can lead to a profound sense of inner peace, releasing us from the suffering of craving and attachment and revealing the boundless sufficiency of the present moment. Ananda's profound understanding of anatta and emptiness transformed his entire being, allowing him to fully embody the noble truths and the noble eightfold path. He had not only preserved the Buddha's words, but had become a living testament to their liberating power. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda's life, particularly after his enlightenment, became a continuous, practical application of these fundamental teachings, demonstrating how the Dharma can be lived in every moment, guiding us towards our own path of inner freedom and profound wisdom. The unfolding path. Noble truths in practice. Ananda's life, especially after his own awakening, became a living embodiment of the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. He had not merely recited these fundamental teachings at the first council. He had lived them, breathed them, and integrated them into every fiber of his being. His journey from disciple to arhat was a testament to the practical efficacy of the Dharma, demonstrating how these profound principles, when diligently applied, lead directly to the cessation of suffering, nirodha, and the realization of boundless inner peace and freedom. The first noble truth, the truth of suffering, he understood not as a pessimistic outlook, but as a clear-eyed recognition of the inherent unsatisfactoriness, the dukkha, of conditioned existence. He had experienced his own suffering through craving, trishna, and attachment, and had witnessed it in countless others. This deep understanding fueled his compassion, metta and karuna, and his unwavering commitment to helping others find release from their own burdens, knowing that the path to liberation began with this honest acknowledgement. The second noble truth, the truth of the origin of suffering, he recognized as arising from craving and attachment. His personal struggle with subtle desires and his ultimate letting go of all clinging solidified this insight. He saw how the mind's incessant grasping for what is pleasant and aversion to what is unpleasant perpetuates the cycle of dukkha. His practice of non-attachment, cultivated through conscious breathing and observing awareness, became a continuous process of dismantling these roots of suffering, leading to profound self-knowledge. The third noble truth, the truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha, was his direct experience of nirvana. He had realized that when craving and attachment cease, suffering ceases. This was not a theoretical concept, but the lived reality of his own liberated mind. He rested in a state of profound inner peace, free from the agitation of desire and the burden of ego. This realization allowed him to move through the world with a deep sense of contentment, sufficiency, and equanimity, embodying the Buddha mind in every moment. The fourth noble truth, the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, he walked diligently every day. The noble eightfold path, right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration was not a set of rules, but a comprehensive guide to living a life of wisdom, ethics, sila, and meditation. Ananda's entire existence, from his service to his teaching, was a continuous practice of these 8 interconnected aspects, leading to full presence. His right understanding was rooted in his direct experience of anatta and sunyata, seeing reality as it truly is, free from illusion. His right thought was always compassionate and free from ill will. His right speech was truthful, kind and beneficial, reflecting his deep karuna. His right action and right livelihood were always ethical, upholding the precepts and causing no harm. His right effort was the persistent cultivation of wholesome states and the letting go of unwholesome ones, a continuous practice of inner freedom. His right mindfulness, sati, was evident in his full presence in every moment, from conscious breathing to mindful walking. His right concentration, samadhi, was the foundation of his deep meditative states and his ability to remain focused and serene amidst all circumstances. These 8 aspects were not practiced in isolation, but were interwoven, each supporting and strengthening the others, creating a holistic path to awakening, a natural flow, wu wei, that permeated his entire being. As Pema Chodron wisely states, the path to freedom is to learn to open up to the discomfort. Ananda's practice of the Noble Truths involved precisely this, opening up to the discomfort of craving, of attachment, of the illusion of self, and allowing them to dissolve through mindful awareness and letting go. He embraced the challenges of the path, understanding that they were opportunities for deeper insight and greater liberation, leading him to profound inner peace. Ananda's life after awakening became a beacon for the Sangha, showing how the Dharma could be lived authentically and completely. He taught not just with words, but with his very presence, demonstrating the profound peace, the boundless compassion, and the unwavering wisdom that arise from fully integrating the Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path into one's daily existence. He was a living testament to the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings, a true bodhisattva. Ananda's life as a continuous practice of the Noble Truths was deeply intertwined with his unwavering commitment to mindfulness. Every step, every breath, every interaction became an opportunity for conscious awareness. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda maintained this full presence throughout his long life, using conscious breathing, anapanasati, as an anchor, and demonstrating how the simple act of being fully present can lead to profound inner peace and a deep connection to the Buddha mind. A lifetime of presence, anapanasati in every step. Ananda's life was a testament to the power of continuous mindfulness, sati, a practice he cultivated from his earliest days of service to the Buddha, and which deepened immeasurably after his own awakening. For him, mindfulness was not just a formal meditation practice, but a way of being, a full presence infused into every action, every breath, every interaction. Conscious breathing, anapanasati, became his constant anchor, a gentle return to the present moment that allowed him to move through the world with profound inner peace, equanimity, and an unwavering connection to the Buddha mind, free from the suffering of craving and attachment. Imagine Ananda in his later years, his face etched with wisdom and compassion, walking slowly along a dusty path. Each step would be taken with deliberate awareness, feeling the earth beneath his feet, the gentle sway of his body. His breath would be a quiet rhythm, a soft ebb and flow, anchoring his consciousness firmly in the present. He would notice the warmth of the sun, the scent of the trees, the distant sound of a bird's song, all absorbed without judgment, without clinging, without the mind wandering into past regrets or future anxieties. This was his living meditation, a continuous practice of full presence. His practice of anapanasati, conscious breathing, was not a technique to achieve something, but a way to simply be. He understood that the breath is always in the present moment, a constant, reliable gateway to sati. By gently observing the breath, he could release the mind's tendency to wander, to chase after thoughts, or to cling to desires. Each inhale and exhale was a sacred pause, a moment of return to sufficiency, a reminder that peace is found not in external circumstances, but in the stillness of conscious awareness within. This unwavering mindfulness allowed Ananda to truly embody the noble eightfold path, particularly right mindfulness. Whether he was teaching the Dharma, engaging in conversation, or performing simple monastic duties, his attention was fully present. He listened with deep empathy, spoke with clarity and kindness, and acted with intention and wisdom, prajna. His actions flowed from a place of inner freedom, unburdened by the usual distractions of ego or the subtle forms of craving, trishna, that often cloud human experience, leading to profound self-knowledge. Ananda's lifetime of presence was also a powerful demonstration of non-attachment. By being fully present with each moment as it arose and passed, he naturally cultivated a release from clinging. He understood that every experience, whether joyful or sorrowful, was impermanent, anicca. This understanding allowed him to greet all of life with equanimous observation, vipassana, neither grasping at pleasure nor resisting pain, but simply witnessing the natural flow, wu wei, of existence with an open heart and a clear mind. This sustained mindfulness had a profound effect on those around him. His serene presence often had a calming influence, inspiring others to slow down, to breathe more deeply, and to find their own moments of sati. He taught by example, showing that the path to inner peace was not reserved for secluded caves or elaborate rituals, but could be found in the simple, mindful acts of daily life. His very being radiated the contentment and sufficiency that arise from a mind deeply rooted in the present, free from suffering. As Thich Nhat Hanh often taught, washing the dishes is like washing the baby. You have to be there. Ananda lived this truth every moment of his life. Whether he was washing his robes, sweeping the monastery grounds, or offering counsel to a struggling monk, he was fully there, his mind completely engaged in the present task. This complete presence transformed mundane activities into opportunities for spiritual practice, revealing the sacredness inherent in every moment, a true expression of the original nature of mind. Ananda's journey reminds us that mindfulness is not a destination, but a continuous practice, a lifelong commitment to returning to the present. There is no need for perfection, only for persistence, for the gentle act of bringing our attention back to our breath, to our body, to our immediate experience again and again. Each return is an act of self-compassion, a step towards inner peace, and a deepening of our connection to the boundless wisdom that resides within us, liberating us from the suffering of craving. His unwavering sati and his mastery of anapanasati were not just personal achievements. They were acts of profound compassion, karuna, for the entire Sangha and for all who would come after him. By embodying full presence, he provided a living example of the Dharma, showing that the path to liberation is accessible through the simple, yet profound act of conscious awareness. His life was a testament to the transformative power of mindfulness, leading to inner freedom and profound self-knowledge. Ananda's lifetime of full presence, rooted in conscious breathing, was intrinsically linked to his boundless heart of compassion. He moved through the world not only with awareness, but with a deep, unwavering metta for all beings. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda's compassion, deepened by his own awakening, manifested as a bodhisattva's heart, a continuous dedication to the welfare of others, extending kindness and support to everyone he met, a true embodiment of the Buddha's teachings, the bodhisattva's heart, serving all beings. Ananda's spiritual journey, beginning with his devoted service to the Buddha and culminating in his own enlightenment, forged within him a profound bodhisattva's heart. This was not merely an intellectual understanding of compassion, metta and karuna, but a living, breathing expression of boundless kindness and selfless dedication to the well-being of all beings. Even after attaining arhatship and his own inner freedom, Ananda continued to serve the Sangha and the wider world with an unwavering commitment, embodying the ideals of a bodhisattva who postpones their own final nirvana to assist others on the path to liberation. His compassion was not abstract, it was deeply practical and immediate. He continued to offer guidance to new monks, patiently explaining complex teachings, clarifying doubts, and offering solace to those who struggled. His years of full presence, sati, and his deep self-knowledge allowed him to meet each individual with genuine empathy, understanding their unique challenges and offering wisdom, prajna, that was both profound and accessible. He knew that the Dharma was meant to alleviate suffering, and he dedicated his life to ensuring that its liberating message reached every heart, free from craving. One touching story recounts Ananda's encounter with a young monk, Brother Esha, who was deeply tormented by feelings of inadequacy and fear. Brother Esha felt he could never attain the same level of understanding as the senior monks, and was contemplating leaving the Sangha. Ananda, sensing his despair, sat with him quietly, listening with an open heart. He didn't immediately offer grand teachings, but simply reflected Brother Esha's feelings, acknowledging his pain with deep karuna, a profound act of conscious breathing and empathetic presence. Then, Ananda gently reminded Brother Esha of the Buddha's teaching on the beginner's mind, Shoshin, and the gradual nature of the path. He spoke of his own struggles with craving, trishna, and attachment, and how persistence and self-compassion were essential. He encouraged Brother Sa to return to the simplicity of his breath, to cultivate mindfulness in small steps, and to trust in the inherent Buddha mind within him. This gentle guidance, rooted in shared humanity and profound wisdom, rekindled hope in the young monk's heart, demonstrating the power of true metta. Ananda's dedication to the welfare of others extended beyond the Sangha to the lay community. He would often visit sick villages, offering not only spiritual comfort but also practical assistance, embodying the precepts of ethical conduct, sila. He understood that suffering, dukkha, manifested in many forms, and that the Dharma offered solace for both the body and the mind. His presence alone, radiating inner peace and contentment, was often a source of healing and reassurance for those in distress, a true expression of sufficiency. His compassion was also evident in his advocacy for the preservation of the Dharma in its purest form. He knew that accurate teachings were crucial for future generations to find the path to the cessation of suffering, nirodha. His tireless efforts in reciting the suttas at the First Council were an act of universal karuna, ensuring that the wisdom of the Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path would remain accessible to all who sought inner freedom, a profound gift of non-attachment. As the Buddha taught, just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so should one cultivate a boundless love towards all beings. Ananda lived this teaching, his heart expanding to embrace not just the Sangha, but the entire world. His compassion was not selective. It flowed freely, recognizing the interconnectedness of all life and the shared aspiration for happiness and freedom from suffering. He saw the Buddha mind in every being, fostering a deep sense of universal metta. The practice of Tonglen, a Tibetan Buddhist meditation of taking in suffering and sending out compassion, beautifully describes Ananda's approach. He seemed to effortlessly absorb the pain and confusion of others, transforming it within his own liberated mind and radiating back clarity and peace. This ability to engage with suffering without being overwhelmed by it was a hallmark of his bodhisattva's heart, a testament to his profound inner freedom and his understanding of emptiness, sunyata. Ananda's life, after his own awakening, served as a powerful reminder that enlightenment does not lead to withdrawal from the world, but to a deeper, more profound engagement with it, fueled by boundless compassion. He continued to be a pillar of the Sangha, a source of wisdom and comfort, and a living example of how the Dharma transforms not just the individual, but the entire community, guiding all towards a natural flow of peace and liberation. Ananda's bodhisattva heart, always open to the suffering of others, allowed him to move through life with profound equanimity. He understood that the world was constantly changing, and that true peace lay in accepting this natural flow. As we continue this contemplative journey, we will explore how Ananda, through his deep wisdom and non-attachment, embraced the ever-shifting nature of existence, cultivating a profound acceptance of what is, and finding inner freedom in the dance of impermanence, accepting what is, the flow of life. Ananda's journey, marked by profound service and ultimate awakening, led him to a deep and abiding acceptance of life's natural flow, Wu Wei. This was not a passive resignation, but an active, intelligent surrender to the inherent wisdom of existence, a profound understanding that true inner freedom arises from letting go of resistance and embracing the ever-changing nature of reality. Having witnessed the impermanence, anicca, of all things, and having let go of his own craving, trishna, and attachment, he moved through the world with an unshakable equanimity, finding peace in every unfolding moment, a true embodiment of the Buddha mind. In his later years, Ananda became a beacon of serenity, his presence radiating a quiet contentment and sufficiency that touched everyone he met. He had seen the rise and fall of kingdoms, the blossoming and fading of generations, the joys and sorrows of countless lives. Through it all, his observing awareness, vipassana, remained steady, unperturbed by the external dance of phenomena. He understood that resistance to change was the root of suffering, and that true wisdom, prajna, lay in harmonizing with the natural rhythms of life, just as a skilled boatman navigates a river, moving with its currents rather than fighting against them. One afternoon, as a sudden storm swept through the region, bringing torrential rain and fierce winds, many younger monks became agitated, worried about the damage to their simple dwellings and the disruption to their routines. Ananda, seated calmly beneath a sturdy tree, merely watched the storm unfold. He felt the cool spray on his face, heard the roar of the wind, and saw the trees swaying violently, yet his inner peace remained undisturbed. He understood that the storm, like all phenomena, was impermanent, a natural expression of the world, and there was nothing to do but accept its presence. When a young monk, Brother Subhuti, approached him with a worried expression, asking how he could remain so calm amidst such chaos, Ananda smiled gently. "Brother Subhuti," he replied, his voice a soft murmur above the storm's roar. "This storm is not separate from the world, nor from us. It simply is. To resist it is to resist life itself." True peace arises not from the absence of storms, but from the acceptance of their presence, from letting go of our desire for things to be otherwise. This is the natural flow, Wu Wei, of existence, a continuous teaching on anicca. This profound acceptance was born from his deep realization of anatta, the non-self, and emptiness, sunyata. When there is no fixed, separate self to protect, no inherent existence to cling to, then the fluctuations of the world lose their power to disturb. Ananda understood that he was not separate from the storm, not separate from the trees or the rain, but an integral part of the vast, interconnected tapestry of existence. This insight dissolved all fear and resistance, leaving only boundless awareness and a deep sense of inner freedom. His equanimity extended to all aspects of his life. He accepted praise without ego and criticism without aversion, understanding that both were impermanent and ultimately empty of inherent self. He embraced both comfort and discomfort, joy and sorrow, as transient visitors, observing them with a steady, non-attached mind. This continuous practice of letting go allowed him to live with a profound sense of sufficiency, knowing that the present moment, just as it is, contains everything needed for peace, a true expression of self-knowledge. As Alan Watts famously stated, "The art of living is not to try to solve problems, but to dissolve them." Ananda, through his deep acceptance of the natural flow of life, was dissolving the problems that arise from resistance and craving. He was not trying to control the uncontrollable, but rather learning to dance with the changing currents, finding harmony in the rhythms of existence. This was his path to inner peace, a continuous conscious breathing, anapanasati, that kept him rooted in the present moment, free from suffering. His life became a living example of the Noble Eightfold Path, particularly right effort and right mindfulness. His effort was not a struggle against reality, but a skillful cultivation of awareness and acceptance. His mindfulness, sati, was the constant, gentle return to the present, allowing him to witness the natural flow of life without getting entangled in its dramas. This holistic approach to practice led him to a profound and unshakable inner freedom, a true embodiment of the Dharma. Ananda's acceptance of what is, his embrace of the natural flow, Wu Wei, was a testament to his complete liberation. He had transcended the suffering of craving and attachment, finding a deep and abiding peace that was independent of external circumstances. His life offered a powerful lesson. True inner freedom is not about manipulating the world to suit our desires, but about transforming our relationship to the world by accepting it fully, just as it is, with boundless compassion. Ananda's profound acceptance of life's natural flow was deeply intertwined with his enduring legacy. He understood that the Dharma itself was a continuous, unfolding process, transcending any individual life. As we approach the culmination of our contemplative journey, we will explore Ananda's final years and how his life continued to impact the Sangha, ensuring that the wisdom of the Buddha would flow through generations, a testament to his deep gratitude and unwavering commitment to the path. The enduring legacy. Dharma continues. Ananda's final years, were a gentle unfolding of wisdom and a serene continuation of his profound service to the Dharma. Having achieved his own inner freedom, he became a living bridge between the Buddha's original teachings and the generations that followed, ensuring that the precious insights of the Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path would endure. His life became a testament to the fact that the Dharma, like a mighty river, flows continuously, nourishing all who drink from its waters, long after its source has receded from view, a profound act of non-attachment and self-compassion. Even in his old age, Ananda remained an active and revered member of the Sangha. His mind, though aged, retained its clarity and wisdom, prajna, honed by decades of continuous mindfulness, sati, and deep contemplation. He continued to teach, to guide, and to offer solace, his words imbued with the authority of direct experience and the boundless compassion, metta, and karuna of a liberated heart. His very presence was a living sermon, radiating the inner peace and contentment that arise from a life fully dedicated to the path, free from craving, trishna. He often recounted stories of his time with the Buddha, not out of nostalgia, but to illustrate the practical application of the Dharma, making the teachings vibrant and accessible for new disciples. He would recall how the Buddha handled difficult questions, how he responded to various situations, and how he embodied the principles of ethics, sila, and equanimity in every moment. These stories, imbued with Ananda's gentle wisdom, served to keep the Buddha's presence alive, connecting the new generation directly to the source of the teachings, fostering their own self-knowledge. Ananda's contentment and deep gratitude were palpable. He never sought recognition or personal gain, understanding that true sufficiency lay in the simple act of living the Dharma. He had fulfilled his vow to serve the Buddha, preserved his teachings for posterity, and attained his own liberation. There was nothing left to strive for, nothing to cling to. He rested in the boundless awareness of the Buddha mind, accepting the natural flow, wu-wei, of his own aging and the impermanence, anicca, of all things with serene detachment. His enduring legacy was not just the accurate recitation of the suttas, but the living example he set. He showed that the path to awakening is open to all, regardless of their initial struggles or doubts. He demonstrated that compassion, service, diligent practice, and persistent questioning all lead to the same destination: inner freedom and the cessation of suffering, nirodha. He was a beacon of hope and inspiration, reminding everyone that the potential for enlightenment resides within each being. Ananda also continued to emphasize the importance of the Sangha, the community of practitioners. He knew that while the path to liberation is individual, it is best walked in the company of like-minded individuals who offer support, guidance, and inspiration. He fostered a sense of unity and shared purpose, ensuring that the Dharma would continue to be studied, practiced, and transmitted through a vibrant and cohesive community, a living example of non-attachment. As Dogen Zenji stated, the entire being is the Dharma. Ananda's entire being, from his profound memory to his compassionate heart, from his unwavering mindfulness to his ultimate awakening, was an embodiment of the Dharma. He lived the teachings so completely that his life itself became a continuous instruction, a silent guide for all who sought to understand the true nature of reality and to find their own path to inner peace and liberation. His final years were a testament to the profound peace that comes from a life well lived in accordance with the Dharma. He had witnessed the Buddha's final parinirvana with sorrow, but he had then transformed that sorrow into a deeper understanding of impermanence and non-attachment. Now, as his own life gently drew to a close, he greeted it with the same equanimity, a calm acceptance of the natural cycle, knowing that his essence, the Buddha mind, was beyond birth and death. Reflecting on Ananda's enduring legacy, we are invited to consider our own contributions to the continuation of wisdom and compassion in the world. How do we live the Dharma in our daily lives? How do we share its liberating insights with others, not through preaching, but through our own example of inner peace, gratitude, and self-compassion? Ananda's life reminds us that even after our physical presence fades, the impact of our mindful actions and our compassionate heart can continue to ripple through time, offering light to countless beings. Ananda's final years were a gentle whisper of wisdom, a profound teaching on the sufficiency found in simple awareness and the original nature of mind. He had completed his journey, embodying the Dharma in its entirety. As we approach the conclusion of our contemplative journey, we will listen to these whispers, allowing them to guide us back to the stillness of our own being, preparing us for deep rest and reminding us of the profound inner freedom that resides within each of us, waiting to be rediscovered. Whispers of Wisdom, Ananda's final teaching. In his final years, Ananda's presence became a living teaching, a gentle whisper of wisdom that resonated deeply with all who sought true inner freedom. He had walked the entire path, from devoted service to profound awakening, embodying every aspect of the Dharma. His final teachings were not elaborate discourses, but embodied insights into the sufficiency found in simple awareness, the original nature of mind, and the liberating power of non-attachment. He taught through his serene presence, his compassionate gaze, and the quiet contentment that radiated from his very being, guiding others towards their own self-knowledge and peace, free from craving Trishna. Imagine Ananda, very old now, perhaps sitting under a familiar tree, his form frail but his spirit vibrant. The air around him would be imbued with a profound stillness, a sense of timeless peace. Young monks and lay practitioners would gather, not always for words, but simply to be in his presence, to absorb the silent wisdom that flowed from him like a gentle stream. He had seen countless sunrises and sunsets, felt the changing seasons, and understood the impermanence, anicca, of all things. Yet his heart remained steadfastly in the present, a beacon of full presence, sati. His final teachings often revolved around the simplicity of the path. He would emphasize the importance of conscious breathing, anapanasati, as a constant anchor, a gentle return to the present moment, reminding everyone that peace is not found in complex philosophies, but in the direct experience of each breath. He taught that true wisdom, prajna, was not about accumulating knowledge, but about letting go of all conceptual frameworks, allowing the mind to rest in its natural open state, the no-mind, mushin. Ananda would often speak of the Buddha mind, reminding his disciples that enlightenment was not something external to be attained, but the inherent original nature of their own consciousness. He encouraged them to look within, to observe their thoughts and feelings with equanimous observation, vipassana, without judgment or attachment, and to realize that this boundless awareness was already present, waiting to be rediscovered beneath the layers of conditioning and craving. This was the ultimate self-compassion, recognizing one's own inherent perfection. He emphasized the profound liberation that comes from non-attachment. He had personally experienced the suffering that arises from clinging to people, places, and even spiritual concepts. and he had found true inner freedom in releasing these grips. His life was a testament to the fact that when we let go, when we cease our striving, when we embrace the natural flow, wu-wei of existence, a deep and unshakable peace emerges, a sense of sufficiency that transcends all external conditions. His compassion, metta and karuna remained boundless. He understood that the path was often challenging, filled with doubts and struggles. He offered encouragement, patience, and a deep understanding, knowing that each being was on their own unique journey towards the cessation of suffering, nirodha. He embodied the bodhisattva ideal, continuing to serve and guide with a heart full of love, even as his own physical form began its final journey towards dissolution. As Suzuki Roshi wisely taught, each of you is perfect just as you are, and you can use a little improvement. Ananda, in his final teachings, conveyed this profound paradox. He affirmed the inherent perfection of each being, their Buddha mind, while gently encouraging them to continue their practice, to refine their awareness, and to shed the remaining veils of illusion. This gentle encouragement, free from judgment, inspired deep trust and commitment. Ananda's whispers of wisdom were a call to simplicity, to presence, to letting go. He showed that the Dharma was not an arduous ascent to a distant peak, but a gentle descent into the boundless depths of one's own being. He invited everyone to find peace in the ordinary, to discover the sacredness in every breath, and to realize the profound inner freedom that is available when we truly accept what is, with gratitude and contentment. His final lesson was one of profound trust in the path and in the inherent wisdom of existence. He had lived a life of unwavering dedication, and in his quiet passing, he demonstrated that death itself is simply another aspect of impermanence, another moment in the natural flow, not an end, but a transformation. His wisdom continued to echo, a timeless reminder that the Dharma endures, guiding all towards the boundless peace of nirvana. Now, as we gently conclude our journey with Ananda, let his whispers of wisdom guide you back to the sanctuary within your own being. Allow the essence of his tireless devotion, his deep compassion, and his profound inner freedom to settle softly into your heart, preparing you for a night of deep, restorative rest, the echo of Ananda's journey. As our contemplative journey with Ananda draws to a close, let us gently reground ourselves, feeling the quiet presence of our body, the soft rhythm of our breath. Ananda's life, a tapestry woven with threads of unwavering service, profound wisdom, and boundless compassion, offers a timeless reflection on the path to awakening. He showed us that inner freedom is not a distant goal, but a living reality cultivated through diligent practice, a deep acceptance of impermanence, and a continuous letting go of all that binds us to suffering. You are here in this moment, held by the quiet wisdom of his journey, and truly, this is sufficient. Allow yourself to feel the gentle echoes of his devotion, his patience, and his unwavering commitment to the Dharma. His story reminds us that even in the face of immense loss and personal struggles, the path of mindfulness, sati, and non-attachment can lead to an unshakable inner peace. There is nothing more you need to do, nowhere you need to go. Simply rest in this present moment, allowing the insights from Ananda's life to gently permeate your being, soothing your mind and calming your spirit, preparing you for a night of profound, restorative sleep. The wisdom of anatta, the non-self, and emptiness, sunyata, gently reminds us to release the burden of a fixed identity, allowing our consciousness to expand into the vast, interconnected flow of existence. Let go of any remaining thoughts or worries, surrendering them to the stillness of this moment. Feel the profound contentment that arises from sufficiency, knowing that all you need for peace already resides within your own original nature, your Buddha mind, a boundless source of self-compassion. Now, as your body grows heavy and your mind becomes calm, allow yourself to drift into a deep and peaceful sleep. Let the gentle current of your breath carry you into the realm of dreams, where rest renews and restores. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to strive for. Simply be. Be here, be now, and allow the quiet miracle of sleep to embrace you fully, a natural flow of healing and rejuvenation. This space, infused with the wisdom of the Dharma, is always here for you. If these words have touched something deep within your heart, if you wish to return to this sanctuary of peace and contemplation, we warmly invite you to subscribe. By doing so, you help keep this tranquil harbor accessible, a constant reminder of the profound peace that awaits within. May you awaken feeling refreshed, renewed, and deeply connected to the wellspring of peace that is your true nature. Sweet dreams, dear friend. Rest deeply.